Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zak's Traders Cafe for Tuesday, the 16th of January. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which has bounced off the floor of that rising trend channel from October, and also the 50-day moving average around 75.40. The problem here, though, is that we've had an RSI failure at neutral 50, which tends to be a continuation signal on the downside. So that's suggesting that we'll break 75.40 and head maybe down towards the 7400 level. On the upside, or on the positive side at least, we had or have had the 50 and 200 day lines both rising as if to go into a golden cross later this month, but the whole issue here is that we need to hold 75.40, and otherwise we could have a breakdown. On the upside, probably it's easier just to wait for an end of day close above that resistance line there from the end of last month, currently around 76.40 as a fresh buy trigger on this market, unless you are buying that uptrend line there from October. Moving on to the DAX, and not quite as pretty here today, but still underlining the way that 16,500 and the old July resistance area is support for this market. So we're in a range between 16,500 and 17,000. The peak from last month, end of day close through 17,000, which seems rather unlikely now, could lead us to 18,000, which is a January 2023 resistance line projection. We do break back below the 16,500 area, the 50-day line. 16,200 is the favored destination. RSI now pushed just below the 50 level, so we do have that risk of a 50-day moving average test. Moving on to the Dow, which was obviously closed yesterday as well. Here we've got that rising trend channel. For the channel there around 37,500. Above that, we're looking for this market to break 38,000 and that March resistance line from last year. Best case scenario target by the end of next month up to 39,400 at the top of that October rising trend channel. But the trajectory does look a bit too good to be true in terms of how steep it is. So probably had to factor in a potential test of the 37,000 zone, which is 1 month support. Moving on to Bitcoin, which is still recovering from the ETF good news. Here, trying to regroup near a rising 50-day moving average. Want to break neckline resistance of 43,400. If we can do that sometime this week, then we could have a retest of the best levels of earlier this month towards 49,000 by the end of this month. On the downside, hoping that we won't get anything lower than 40,000, but might have to factor in old November resistance of 38,000 as a worst case scenario. Moving on to the stocks, and requested stock here in the form of Arrow Exploration, and here you can see that even though the shares have been in something of a dirge for many months, there is an uptrend line there from back in the spring of 2022. That line running at 17 pence, so above 17 pence, we're feeling that this is a buy on dips. We've got a resistance line there from back in the first part of last year. That is running at around 18.7 pence, call it 18.75. Want to see a break of that to then get us back onto the possibility of heading back into the mid-20s. You can see that resistance line projection is heading up to 28, which may be a 2 to 3 month target. If we get a relatively swift break of 18.7 pence, or if you're fussy, up through the 200-day moving average rising at 19.3 pence. What we'd like to see, I suppose, also is the 50-day line starting to rise as well. But the good news with Arrow is the way that we've got that uptrend line at 17 pence. So if you're a fan of the shares, you want to see that hold, and if you are new to the shares, that's probably your buying zone on the near term. Moving along to a stock which had an RNS today, which is Blue Star, and here the situation is that it looks like we're just slowly breaking that line of resistance from March there, and the 50-day line 0.09 above that, looking for the 200-day line at 0.13 perhaps as soon as the end of this month. If we can break through the 200-day moving average on a weekly close basis, that could signify a decent trend change. One of the stocks at the moment underlining the possibility that this is the year of the biotech is e-Therapeutics. Here we've managed to hit our initial target there around 15.75 pence. Above that on an end of day close basis, looking for up to 25 pence by the end of next month after the Island gap reversal, so a bear trap below the 9 pence zone and then gapping up. 50-day line already rising and about, as I said, above that initial target there, September resistance line projection, looking for the mid-20s on ETX or e-Therapeutics. On to Emmerson, where it was already spotted that there seems to be consistent buying here, and there has been for days now. We had our initial target there at the red line, 2.6, we just missed it so far, or 2.65 I suppose is the level there. End of day close above that, and we're looking for 3.5 pence by at the end of this month at the top of that July gap down that we had for the shares. Upside value while we remain above recent, it's post-September resistance around the 2.25 pence level. Moving along to a stock which looks quite encouraging at the moment, Getech, and here the reason for saying that is we've had a bear trap island reversal, so gapping down and then gapping up, rising 50-day line bouncing off that as well, V-shaped bull flag looking for 9 pence by the end of this month, while we're above the 50-day line at 6 pence. And if you're a fan of the shares looking for greater glory, then it would be up to the second line I'm drawing there, up to as high as 13 pence by the end of next month, but that looks like a decent setup there on Getech. Stock which I didn't really want to cover, but it keeps coming back for more, is Maytech here. Again, we've got this V-shaped bull flag, rising 50-day moving average. Initial target here around 15 pence, above that looking for 20 pence by the end of next month or even sooner, and still a long way to go to fill that gap from April up to 25 pence. On to Oxford Biodynamics, which has made good on the break of that resistance line there from back in October, and the 50-day line at 30 pence. Was saying before, while we're above that 30 pence zone, looking for up to 55 or even 60 pence over the next couple of months, maybe by the end of March. The way things are going, looks as though that would be the right time frame. Obviously, we've got the old October resistance there at 51 pence initially. On to the last two. First one is Power Metal, and here the excitement, I suppose, coming from the soaring price of uranium. Initial target here was around 0.78. Above that, we were looking for 0.9, and we're looking for 0.9 again after the sharp key reversal to the upside that we saw yesterday, and the way that the 50-day line is now rising quite well for the shares, but ultimately looking for as high as 1.3 pence as soon as the end of next month. Finishing off with a requested situation, and it is Synergia, and here we're hoping that finally the shares will get off the ground. A nice consolidation here either side of the 50-day line, 0.08. Initial target here up to 0.11 pence by the end of next month, the way things are going. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.